Realtor Solutions, and I am here today with Focus Forward. I am so excited to have my next guest on this show. He is just an awesome individual, phenomenal trainer, and he's just, since I met him, I totally look at training in a different way, which is just phenomenal for the entrepreneur thinking about continually training, continually evolving, continually moving towards that next learning opportunity for yourself. But thinking about training your team and really taking your team to the next level. So I'm here today with Rob Grandt. He is the training and development coordinator, productivity coach for Keller Williams in Roseville, Minnesota. So Rob, thank you so much for being with me today.
Thank you for having me.
I am so excited for you to be here.
Thanks.
I just want to find out everything about your job. The reason why, because I think it's so unusual for a company, a real estate agent, to have a designated trainer, productivity coach. I mean, I know that they all have Tuesday morning meetings, an hour meeting or whatever, but you're really on the job 40 hours a week, probably more, training and developing and helping these people to really excel.
Correct.
Is this unusual in the industry?
It is fairly new. Our company does have a formal coaching program, and my role actually came as an extension of that program to have somebody in the market center who can focus on developing and training newer agents or agents with less experience to be able to succeed at a very high level very quickly.
So how is that working? Tell me a little bit about that.
So when a new agent joins our team, we talk to them about the program, and it's highly encouraged that they join the program. They get very focused, very succinct coaching, mentoring. We walk them through every step of not just how to fill out a purchase agreement, but how to set their goals, how to hold them accountable to their goals, how to break through their limiting beliefs, and challenge themselves to do more than what they think they can do.
That's amazing. Yep. That's amazing. Because the thing about that is, I work a lot with Jack Canfield and do a lot of training with him. And the very interesting thing is, whether you believe you can or you believe you can't, you're right in both counts.
Absolutely.
Yep. So having somebody to continually bounce ideas off and somebody to prop you up and lift you and move you forward, I mean, that's an incredible thing. But your job is really much more than that.
Correct.
So tell me about what your average day looks like.
So I usually am in there between 7:30 and 8 o'clock. I have my own scripts that I use to, I have a recruiting job as well, so I make money when people are in my program. So I will constantly call some of the agents and just check with them and see how their goals are and how they're doing with their business. I have coaching appointments throughout the day. I usually have a class or two during the day, so I do a lot of actually in-office training. And I do have my license, so occasionally I do have to go out there and work with the customer and show houses or put a house on the market. So.
Really? So you also do that? That's a huge job.
It's a huge job. Yeah.
That's amazing. So, I just want to talk for a second about this book.
Sure.
The One Thing.
Sure.
This show is for entrepreneurs, helping entrepreneurs get to the next level.
Okay.
This book I found to be like a rocket.
It's awesome.
For your business.
Yep.
I mean, this is amazing. This was written by
Gary Keller.
Gary Keller.
Yep.
And now, is this kind of the principles that you use that are covered in this book?
I would say the book is fairly new.
Okay.
He just wrote it, or I should say he's been writing it for quite some time. But because of the focus of the book is to figure out what your one thing is, and then move forward with that. He's been developing it with his co-author, Jay Papasan, for probably 6 to 7 or 8 years, maybe even longer.
Wow.
So.
Well, I love this book.
Yeah.
I recommend it all the time to my clients because, a lot of people, especially entrepreneurs, get confused.
Yes.
They're running around. It's like the next shiny object. They have to do this. They're wearing so many hats. But if you focus on that one thing that's going to take you to that next level, I mean, that's what it's all about. And he really helps you. It's almost like he takes you by the hand and leads you through the book.
He gives you the steps, just like, we were talking the other day about there's so many people out there who do similar stuff. Jack, Tony Robbins, Brian Tracy, Mike Ferry, they all have their own programs designed around a specific thing. What Gary has done in this book is basically said, if you know what you have to do and you follow that plan every single day, that's great. You need to take it one step further and determine, instead of having a to-do list, instead of even having a have to-do list, you pull one thing from that list. And the concept behind the book is challenging yourself with the question, what is your one thing? What is the one thing, such by doing it, everything else that you do becomes easier or completely unnecessary. And once that's done, then you move on to the next one thing. So it's not just one thing and you're done. It's one thing and then another one thing and another one thing. And he breaks it up into 7 different principles. What's the one thing in your health? What's the one thing in your business life? What's the one thing in your financial life? Anyway, all of our training has been centered around the development of this book, and a lot of our continued training is kind of focused around identifying that thing and just kind of carrying it forward. Not that our company is about the book, it's not, but it's designed, he doesn't talk about real estate in that book at all. It's designed to just help you help yourself and identify really what is truly, honestly, your one thing, and how can you, by doing that, make everything a lot easier.
Well, do you remember the book by Brian Tracy, Eat That Frog?
Absolutely.
This is like Eat That Frog on steroids.
Very similar to it, yeah.
It's like, whoa!
Yep,
I loved
absolutely.
it. I really loved it.
Yep.
This is the kind of book, it's like Jack, the success principles, all that.
Yeah.
You read every year.
Right.
Okay? You just read that every year. It refreshes you, and it will take you to the next level.
It will.
So it's
if
an
you
awesome
apply
book.
it.
Well,
If you
yeah.
apply it.
Action, action, action.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's very true. So, so now you're working with, you're working with Keller Williams, using some of these principles, using some other things. What do you think the big differentiator is in that company?
I think by having somebody focused in the office all time, full time, gives the agents a sense of kind of an inner peace that they know they don't have to seek out the answers elsewhere. They don't have to try and forge relationships with somebody they don't know. They don't have to wait for the leadership team to come to them and say, hey, how are you doing? Do you have a problem? There's always somebody in the office that can focus on that. And I think it makes a huge, huge difference. Plus, the ability to actually train them and help develop them on a regular basis without, again, having to wait for it. I think that makes a huge difference.
Wow, that's amazing. So when you talk about, I just heard that you're international.
We are.
That's amazing.
Yep. It's an international company now.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
That's just, when you think about different, the different norms and how that company actually, I'm always amazed by international companies. I mean, it's just, I have 3M right down the street. They're major international. So, I mean, it's just amazing to think about that and doing business, globally with that. So just for the entrepreneur out there, tell us a little bit about why you think training and development is so important.
It's not only important, it's essential. I think it's not just exponentially out there telling people this is what you have to do. It's actually living it. I mean, you can't expect somebody to listen to what you have to say and download all of this information if you're not actually holding yourselves to the same standards. So I think it's a combination of reading books like Success Principles, The One Thing, or any of those other motivational tools, implementing them in your own life and being able to go and say, this is what you have to do and this is why you need to do it because this is what it's done for me. So I think that's probably the most important thing.
Wow. Yeah, it's, I'm always in a course.
Yeah, so am I.
I'm always in a course.
So am I, yeah.
It's amazing, isn't it?
Yep.
It's like, people ask me, why are you going to that course? Didn't you already study with this person? I said, yeah. I said, but if you get one thing out of it, if you get one thing out of it, it's, that one thing could be the differentiator. And often, you keep compiling those one things, and pretty soon you really do get to the next level.
I think as adults, we tend to tell ourselves that, oh, I went to school, I did high school, I did college, I got my degree. That's fantastic, but what are you using it for? What are you implementing for? Even if you're in the field that your degree is in, are you actually doing anything with it? So it kind of boils down to what else can you do? And challenging yourself to do something that is outside of your comfort zone. That's where growth happens. That's what a lot of our people say is that's where your growth will happen. So
when you look at it, I mean, how many people are actually working in their degree? I mean, I'm trying to think about one person that I don't know one person. Yeah, it's amazing. So, the other thing is you never really know what you're gonna need.
Yep.
So having this stockpile of knowledge is really important.
School is never out for the successful, is what I like to say.
Exactly. Exactly.
Can always learn.
So do you see a difference in the agents that are always studying and the agents that are, maybe a little bit more complacent?
Yes, because the agents that are studying realize that the studying and the knowledge that they're building is just one piece of it. There's actual skill building and implementation that has to happen. So it's learning, implementing, and constantly, like I said, challenging themselves to take it to another level, to go further than they've ever gone before, breaking through those limiting beliefs, and telling themselves, I don't care what anybody else says. I don't care what the chip on my shoulder says. I'm going to do it. And if they fail forward. And they learn from it, and then they have the ability to go back and say, write that into my lesson plan, not going to make that make the same mistake again, and move forward with that. That's the agents that are successful. Those are the agents that, regardless of their focus, whether they're a luxury agent, a commercial agent, an international agent, or a single family homes agent, they're successful in their niche.
That's amazing, because I don't know if you listen to or read the Success magazine. Daryl Hardy.
Yep.
I think it was last month. The entire magazine was about failure, and the reason why, he says, is because failure is not a bad thing. You know,
Right.
remember how we always just think, oh, if you fail, that's it. You're
Failure's
loser.
not an option.
Failure is
Right.
not an option. All that. Now they're like, fail fast and keep moving, and
Yep.
fail fast and keep moving. And they say that there's direct correlation between how fast you fail and start again.
Absolutely.
Okay, so he's talking about how he lost millions of dollars in his previous businesses and this and that, and then he hit it.
You look at any of the great leaders around the world, regardless of industry, Thomas Edison, Winston Churchill, Abraham Lincoln, look at how many times they failed, and look what it got them. Look what they took from it and learned from it and grew from it. That's where success can happen. But you have to allow yourself not to be bogged down in it. Courage is just the opportunity to get up one more time than you fall. So that's really where it happens.
So when we look at it, I mean, we never hear about those failures.
Right.
I mean, we never hear about that. We only hear about the successes. And I think, in a way, it's doing a disservice to people, because if we're not aware of those people that we believe have done amazing things and changed our lives, and throughout history have improved the lives of many people through their successes, if we never hear about their failures, we think if we make a minor mistake or whatever, then we're done for.
There's a concept we believe in our company. Let me start it by saying that a lot of people think that they have to have something in order to do something, and then they will be something. I have to have money so I can do the things that I want, so I can be this. We flip it around. You need to be it first. You need to internalize it. You need to have the mindset. You need to have the focus. You need to be it, truly internalize it, and then do it, because then you'll have it.
You know who talks a lot about that is John Maxwell.
Yeah,
He
absolutely.
talks a lot about that over and over. He's saying, it's not what you get, when you become, it's who you become.
Absolutely.
So looking at that, I think that the focus for many years has been on what you have.
Absolutely.
And in reality, the focus really needs to be on who you are.
Absolutely.
And what you can do with that.
What you can contribute.
Yeah.
And move forward. Come from contribution.
It's amazing.
Yeah. It's another philosophy our company believes in, is absolutely come from contribution. In every single relationship you have, anywhere, anytime, come from contribution.
So now I'm gonna hit something that might be a little controversial.
Sure.
You don't mind? I never rehearse the show, and I don't ask you questions
That's all right.
beforehand, because I want to be able to be free here.
Sure.
So what about the concept that some people have that they can't really trust real estate agents? What about that? I mean, have you heard that, or?
No, I think a lot of it stems from, look at the used car salesman, you look at the lawyers who are greedy, or have been seen as greedy. Not that all of them are. I've been a used car salesman, not a greedy person. I think a lot of it comes from the fact that there's this mentality in the general public that because we are individual entrepreneurs, we're our own bosses in many respects, especially real estate agents, that all we're interested in is their money. And our company is changing that game in that I don't want to say we don't care about money. We're a capitalist society. We have to have money to have certain things in our lives. But if you focus on the relationship, if I come to you and say, Lori, I want to sell your house, and here's why I want to sell your house. You're more likely to refer me to your friends and family based on what I've done for you, other than the fact that I actually sold your house. So we focus the whole concept on the relationship is worth more than the money, because the relationship is going to get you further. The relationship is going to give you more money. So focusing on developing and building the relationship, having the concept and the mentality that the relationship is worth more than the money, is really where success can happen in real estate. So
That's amazing. I mean, when we just think about that, you know, it's important that we focus, you know, I think that it was like an old belief, maybe, you know, from like the 70s or the 80s or something, that it's like, okay, strike now, strike while the iron is hot, you know, do it, take this, you know, and not think about that future relationship, that future sale. Because one sale can easily, I mean, people don't just buy one home.
Correct.
And their friends are buying and selling and this and that.
Well, the 80s, if you look at everything that happened in the 80s, inflation, interest rates were in the teens. You had movies like Wall Street that capitalized on the greed is good philosophy. And I think that spread throughout the concept of everything capitalistic in America. And I think, you know, my generation, our generation, they still have that philosophy. They still, some of them still believe in that philosophy. That's what they grew up in, and that's where they saw the most of their success. So they hit this plateau and they just kept going. And not that that's necessarily a bad thing, but if you look at Generation Y and Generation Z, they don't care about that. They don't care about greed. They care about the now. So we need to focus on the now, and we need to focus on helping them, and at the same time making sure that we're taken care of as well.
So now in your job, it's great that you brought that up, because in your job, you're helping all different generations.
Yes.
And how is that?
It can be challenging, especially when dealing with not just generational, but personality traits. You know, we use Tony Robbins' DISC profile to kind of help us understand their personality traits, so we're easily able to communicate with them. Occasionally we'll use the Strengths Finder tests. So we don't do that specifically for them, we do it for us, so we know how to best communicate with them, regardless of the generation gap, whether they're older, younger, inexperienced, $1 million real estate agent, it doesn't matter. Everyone's got a specific personality, and in order for me to do my job, and anybody really in the leadership team at any of the offices to do their job, we have to understand their personality, otherwise it's not going to get us anywhere.
So that's great that you do kind of like that, I hate to say profiling, but that's basically what it is.
It is.
Personality profiling.
It is.
So you do that profiling to help them
Right.
and help you understand how to help them.
Correct. Yep.
You know, I don't think people do that enough.
Nope.
I don't think they do that enough.
I think a lot of it comes from, we always tell people that, oh, we're a great listener, we're a great listener. Well, anybody can be a great listener. What I want you to be is an active listener. I want you to listen to what I have to say, internalize it, switch it around a little bit, and then come back at me with a response. So instead of just listening to what I have to say and telling me the answer that you think I want to hear, think about it, internalize it, and then tell me the truth. Tell me the reality, because that's your true personality.
So your job sounds like you're part like therapist.
Exactly, and I do not have a degree in psychology, but that is exactly true. That is exactly true.
That's amazing. It's amazing, because you wouldn't think that you would find that kind of support in a real estate agent, in a real estate company.
Again, going back to, you know, the company's beliefs and what we like to train our agents on is you have to be good up here, not just in the mindset to go out there and get on the phone and talk to people or ask for referrals or go knock on doors and introduce yourself. It's, are you okay? Mm-hmm. Are you good? Mm-hmm. Do you have the right mindset to do this? If you've got a death in the family, if you've got issues at home, whatever that might be, go take care of that. Go be better, then come back to the business. We want you to feel like yourself needs to be centered first before your business can be centered, because if it's not, that's going to trickle down into your business, and we absolutely don't want that.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah. It's, you know, because I'm not going to say most, but some companies, they're really not interested in any of that. They just want you to basically perform no matter what. So The One Thing, was this Gary's first book?
Oh, no.
No?
No, he's written tons of books, actually. The Millionaire Real Estate Agent was probably one of his first national bestsellers. And Many real estate agents, many business leaders and entrepreneurs have read that book, and it's basically just convincing yourself by applying certain principles that you can be a $1 million real estate agent. He wrote The $1 Million Real Estate Investor for a different focus. He wrote a book called Shift, When the Market Shifted, 2006, 2007. That book focused on applying the millionaire real estate agent principles in a shifting market. And in a shifting market, the only way a real estate agent is going to succeed is by shifting their way of thinking. You can still do everything you learned and still do everything you were taught, but you have to come at it with a completely different mindset. He and a couple of the other authors, they wrote a book called Flip for people who like to flip houses. They wrote a book called Hold for people that like to buy the houses, hold on to them for rental or passive income, and then go from there. So they all fit very nicely into our library, and we love them, and they're great.
So this is actually the first book that's not, because I didn't see real estate.
It's not about real estate.
In this book at all.
It's not about real estate.
This was just about.
Nope.
I think this is just a book for anybody who really wants to succeed.
Anybody who wants to succeed at a completely different level and challenge themselves to do something they've never thought they could do before.
So it's really interesting because the way that I met you was through David Horsacker.
Yep.
Because he was a guest on the show.
Okay.
And he talked about the trust edge.
Yep.
And when I talked to David, he raved about you. You know, he said, oh, you know, these people are so great and this and that. And then when I read this book, I can see where the brand is those brands are consistent. You know, that they're cohesive. You know, so it's about trust, it's about loyalty, it's about relationships. And that's basically the formula for business today.
Absolutely.
You know, so looking at this and realizing, you know, that our show is really geared towards entrepreneurs, not real estate agents per se.
Sure.
What are some of the what's some of the advice that you could give to the entrepreneurs out there? Maybe entrepreneurs that are maybe new,
right,
you know, starting their business, or maybe they could even be seasoned and maybe they're not experiencing the results that they want.
Well, first I would say that real estate agents are absolutely entrepreneurs. You know, we're independent contractors, and the way the Minnesota laws work is that we're pretty much in business for ourselves. So we are absolutely 100% entrepreneurs. It's how we approach the business that actually makes a difference. So as far as advice, I would, the first thing I would say is in order for your business to go big, you have to go small. Gary Keller talks about it in The Millionaire Real Estate Agent. Focus on the small first. Delve down into a specific niche. What type of business do you want to work on? If it's real estate, or it doesn't even matter. What type of business? Who do you want to focus your business to? And where do you want to focus your business? And once you get that, then hit it hard. Hit it really, really hard and really, really fast. Build the success, because from that success is where it's going to grow.
So you brought up a really good point. What I heard is absolutely figure out who your audience is. And how many people, I don't know about real estate agents, but I meet a lot of people, they say everybody is my market. And I said, no, everybody's not your market.
No, absolutely not. Even in real estate, everybody's not in market. Most of my business has been single family residential homes. Whether it's a short sale or a distressed property, it's kind of irrelevant. But you have multifamily homes, you have commercial, you have luxury, you have so many different types of real estate out there that it would be ridiculous for a real estate agent to try and do everything all at once. In fact, I'm coaching an agent now who thinks that that is absolutely what she needs to do, and we're trying to rein her in and say, focus on the little stuff. I want you to get this close away from being a master at it. Because once you're a master, then you don't want to do anything else. I want you to get this close away from being a master at it, because then when you do that, then we're going to move on to the next one thing. And then you're going to do that until you're this close to mastering it. And then we'll move, and so on and so forth.
So it really, what I notice is when people really zero in on their market, the product, I think, it becomes not only much easier to sell, but it's really a focused product.
Absolutely.
And when people have, you know, this concept, my market is everybody and everybody needs my product, often the product is not really as well thought out.
Correct.
As if they would figure out exactly who the market is.
Well, look at any of the successful advertising out there right now. Like, I could just throw some names of companies out there and you'd know exactly what their product is. Starbucks.
Yep. Yep.
Nike,
Yep.
Coke, Pepsi. They have now they may have diversified. Personally, there's a pizza company out there who has diversified way too much and their business has gone down. They won't tell you that, but if you look at the records, you look at their numbers, they're not focusing on pizza anymore. They're focusing on other stuff and their business has gone down. So it's all about focusing on the one thing that is specific to your market that is going to get you the best results as quickly and as fast as possible, whether the results are financial or not. Get those results and then expand.
Well, I think it's important to figure out what results you're looking for.
Yes,
How
true.
are you going to gauge it? Because a lot
True.
of people, when
Oh,
you
absolutely.
say money, they're like, oh, well, I'm not really interested in the money. But what are you interested in?
Right.
What is that result that you're looking for? And if you actually really focus on that result, put a box around that result, and you go towards that result, you're going to get that result. It's when they're spinning like whirling dervishes that nothing really happens.
I train people on figuring out what we like to call your big why. What is the one thing, or what is a group of things that motivate you? Is it not having any debt? Is it being able to travel and having the cash to do that? Is it spending time with your, whatever that is, identifying your big why, kind of your someday goal. If I could have anything I want, whenever I want, that's what I want.
Your job sounds so much fun.
And then we go take everything back to square one and say, okay, how much money do you need to make this year?
Yeah.
And then from that, we go even farther and say, then how many purchase agreements do you need? How many appointments do you need to have? How many leads do you need to generate? And we get them to focus on the day-to-day activities of doing their job, because eventually they're going to get to their big why. And each goal that they set is like a toll booth. And the big why is the destination.
Oh, I love that.
And the goal is to get to the destination, but don't focus on the goal. Do not focus on the goal. If your goal is to make $1 million, what happens when you make $1 million? You stop. So don't focus on making $1 million, focus on making a lot of money. Or saying, I'm gonna make $1 million in 6 months. Great, that's fantastic. What do you need to do every single day to make sure that you hit $1 million in 6 months? That's where it happens. So go small.
Well, you know, I'm sure you've read The 4-Hour Workweek.
Absolutely.
Timothy Ferriss. I love that
Yeah.
book. I love that book because he talks about what do you want your life to look like?
Absolutely.
And then how are you positioned to make that happen?
Yes.
You know, and that's exactly what I love the toll booth concept because if we think about it like that, then we're just going that short distance.
Yep.
You know, I think it's I can't remember. Maybe it's Jack Canfield who says, you know, you get in the car and you're going from New York to California, you only need to see 2 miles ahead, or you know, whatever,
Absolutely.
and it's 2 miles, 2 miles, 2 miles, and people really, I think that they overestimate what they can do in 1 year, and they underestimate what they can do in multiple years. And the other thing I think that's a real big downfall is people don't realize it's not those big decisions that make the difference. It's those everyday little decisions.
Gary says in here, one of his misconceptions is that, or I shouldn't say misconceptions, one of his ahas, if you will, is that success is sequential, not spontaneous. Success happens one step at a time, and it's building upon that success that's actually going to get you where you want to go.
Well, I absolutely agree with that. You know, and I've noticed since I've been working with Jack and since I've been really involved in that self-help world, if you will, I noticed the decisions, the choices. I say choices. The choices that I'm making and the people that I have around me are making are different choices.
Yeah.
You know, and it's really about those daily choices that get you to that toll booth when then it gets you on the road, and then before you know it, you're hitting that success. Because it's not about, that's the problem with winning the lottery.
Yeah.
Winning the lottery, you haven't learned anything.
Correct.
You just have a lot of money. But it's really that incremental learning and the incremental change that you're making that's going to get you there. And then you're going to be able to maintain that because you've changed along the way.
I kind of think of my job as boot camp in the military. If you know anybody who's ever been in the military, you go to boot camp, and on day one, they basically strip you down to nothing, and everybody works together as a team, and there is no individual in boot camp. They get rid of everything that you ever thought you knew about the military and bring you back up. And I kind of feel, not maybe as dramatic, I don't yell in their face, of course, but I will tell them that leave what you thought you know at the door and come in here with an open mind and be open and willing to learn, because that's where success happens. I think for a real estate agent, if their mind is like a sponge, you know how they say a child's mind is like a sponge. If a real estate agent's mind or an entrepreneur's mind is like a sponge, they will succeed. But there's application that has to happen in that too. So I can sit there and you can sit here and we can say, do this, do that, but it's up to them to get off the couch and actually do it.
You know, sometimes I think the easiest clients for me to help are those people that are, I hate to say it, in pain. Because they're willing to do things that if they were at a certain level, they would never go about doing. But they get to a point where they've tried so hard, their business just isn't working, no matter what they do. And they come to me sometimes crying, help me, I'll do anything. Perfect. Within a few weeks, we can see the difference in the business.
Absolutely.
Because I don't have to, you know, kind of shuffle through all those preconceived ideas.
Absolutely. And then you get your clients who come in and say, well, this has happened and this has happened and I haven't done it because of this. And as much as I want to empathize with them, you have to kind of hit them with, well, you can have reasons or results, you can't have both. So you tell me which direction you want to go with. If you want to have reasons, let's list all your reasons. But if you want the results, let's get rid of the result. Let's get rid of the reasons and you can have the results.
Well, I'll tell you, we have to end the show on that.
Sure.
Okay? I can't thank you enough for coming.
Thank you for
This
coming.
has been awesome.
Yeah, it's been fun.
I love talking to you.
Thanks.
I really love talking to you. This has been a great show. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
So that was Rob Grandt from Keller Williams Real Estate Agency right here in Roseville, Minnesota. And I want to say this has been an awesome show. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And thank you for tuning in.